The whole installer runs in a graphical mode. Only the first window is in the text mode, to ensure compatibility with as many machines available on the market as possible. Some installers are available in graphics mode by default, for example on OpenSUSE Boot Manager as a GUI. It's perhaps a little bit nicer, but its functionality is exactly the same. The first thing you need to do when installing Linux is choosing the installer's language. The default is English. Linux systems are largely translated into many other languages. Don't be surprised if you come across a message in English, though. In the next step, we'll specify the time. Earlier, we mentioned how to select the system's time source. If we're installing the only operating system on the computer, we can simply choose to use the UTC system. However, if Linux shares the machine with Windows, we have to uncheck this option. Time zone should be detected automatically. If this does not happen, then choose Warsaw from the list and click Next. Later, we'll have to select the keyboard language as well. We can move on to partitioning our hard drive. This is the most risky phase of the entire Linux installation. It's actually the only stage where we can somehow lose the data stored in the other operating systems on our machine. On the next wizard page, you can select the name of the machine and configure the network. The next step is defining the administrator's password. It should be complicated. As I previously mentioned, the Linux system administrator can really do a lot of things. There's no system functions that the administrator could not modify, so we have to particularly care about this password's strength. You should never disclose your password to anyone. You shouldn't disclose the way you save any of your passwords or the passwords themselves, because it always gives the attacker some extra knowledge about your behavior and habits, so it should be avoided. One of the last things we need is creating a user. Here we can provide some user information. In our case, we simply enter the word user. The system will suggest a user login based on the first and last name. We can always change it. The password can be pretty much anything. As always, it's recommended to enter a quite complicated password. The password strength indicator comes in handy here. You can experiment with several passwords for a bit to make it easy to remember, and on the other hand, sufficiently strong. A user can also be added to the administrator's group, although this is not recommended and it's suggested to leave the ordinary user separated from the root's administrator. Some additional aspects of the user accounts management can be viewed by pressing the Advanced button. We can add more users and create user groups. It's unlikely that we'll need those options in this course, so we skip this and click Next. At this point, you should remove the virtual drive from your machine. We stop the virtual machine for a moment to safely remove the disk from the CD-ROM drive. If we were using a real computer, we would just eject the CD, which is quite simple. In the case of VirtualBox, you can use the Remove option and restart the virtual machine. When we reboot, the grub appears. At this point, we've successfully installed the system, and we're greeted with the login screen.